This video is going to demonstrate how to construct some simple line segments. And we're going to use the problems from lesson 3. The first problem we have here is to construct a line segment XY that's equal in measure or length to that of CD. And we're given CD up here. So the first thing we do in all these constructions is we're going to draw a line using a straight edge or ruler, which is longer than the line we're going to need to use. But here we've got ourselves a line. And in this line, I'm going to label point X as such. Okay. And the question is then to find point Y. I have to construct line segment XY equal to CD. I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to place the sharp point on C, and then I'm going to move the pencil to D. Okay, so that the opening in the compass is exactly the length of CD, such as that. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and place the sharp point of the compass on X, and I'm going to make an arc, draw an arc by touching the paper over here, exactly through the line that I've drawn. Where that arc, that part of the circle that I drew, intersects the line is going to be point Y. So we have now drawn a line segment XY where the size of XY is exactly the same as the size of CD. Let's go to number 9. Construct XY equal to the sum of AB plus CD. We start that exactly the same way. We're going to make ourselves a long line, longer than we're going to need. Okay? And now we're going to have to add AB and CD. So let's take our compass. Let's go up to AB, which is over here. Let's open the compass just wide enough so that it is the length of AB. Just like that. Okay, the sharp point's going to be on A. The pencil's going to be on B. I forgot to label my point here X. Let me do that. Well, actually, I'm going to label this point X over here. I'm going to take the compass that I opened to be equal to AB, and I'm going to place the sharp point on X like I did before. And now I'm going to make an arc on the paper. Oops, my compass moved. I got to go back to AB. I got to make sure that it's exactly the right opening size. And your compass might do this from time to time. Okay, so you want to be sure that doesn't happen. And I'm going to make myself an arc, intersecting the line right over there. So this is now the length of AB. But I don't just want the length of AB. I want the length of AB plus CD. I want to make a little mark over here, a point where that arc intersects the line. And now I'm going to take my compass, and I've got to add CD to it. So I'm going to open the compass so that it's wide enough so that CD is the opening of the compass, like that. Now I'm going to go back down to my line. I'm going to go where I drew this point over here. I'm going to place the sharp end of the compass on top of that line, and now I'm going to trace another arc that intersects the line out over there. And that arc, where that arc intersects the line, I'm going to label point Y, because this is the length of AB rather. So this is the length of AB. This is the length of CD. So therefore, XY is the sum of the two. Let's go back to the next one. Let's see what we have to do here. Construct XY is equal to 2 times CD. Well, let's go ahead and let's draw ourselves a line. It's longer than what we need, hopefully. Okay, and this time let's not forget to label point X as our starting point. 2 times CD. So we've got to do it, it's really the same thing. 2 times CD is the same thing as CD plus CD, right? So we're basically going to do what we did the last time, but with the same length of CD. So let's go up to CD. Let's take our compass. We'll put the sharp edge, the sharp end on C. The pencil end, I'm going to adjust just so it's the right opening to D. Just about like that. Okay. So now I'm going to go back down where X is. I'm going to put the sharp end on X. Let me try to do this a little bit at an angle so you can see it. Okay, I'm taking the sharp end and putting it on X. Now I'm going to make an arc. The arc is going to cross the line. Okay, so now what I've done is I have one arc in there. Where that arc intersects the line, I'm going to make a little note, little point to help myself. And without changing the width of the compass, I'm leaving it as wide as it was before. I'm now going to put the sharp end onto that point and simply make a second arc. Like that. Okay, now each of these distances, we're going to make a point y where that arc intercepts the line. That is the line segment xy that is 2 times CD, because this was length CD and this also was length CD. Okay, yay, we're almost halfway through. Let's take a look at the next puzzle. Okay, construct xy where it is the difference between EF minus CD. Okay, where it is a line segment that's equal to the length of EF, whose length is equal to the length of EF minus the length of CD. So let's take a look at EF and CD just to kind of see what we're talking about. And you can see EF is longer than CD, right? So EF minus CD is going to be a positive length. So let's start this the same way we've started most of them, by drawing a line that's longer, hopefully, than what we're going to need to use. I might want to make this one really long, and unfortunately, as you can see, my ruler's a little broken here, but I'm going to go ahead and make a really long line. I'm going to try to make it across the entire paper. That ought to be big enough, right? Okay, good. I'll pick a point here, name it X. Now I have to do EF minus CD. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure out EF. I'm going to put my sharp point on E, and then I'm going to open this wide enough so that it touches point F. That looks just about right. I'm going to go back down to my line here, and where X is, I am going to put the sharp point on X, like so, and then I'm going to trace an arc that goes through the line right there. Okay, I'm going to make a little note of that point. I'm going to label anything yet. It's EF minus CD. Well, how am I going to do that? Well, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back up to our reference line segments at the top of the paper, and now I'm going to make a line segment that has the width of CD. Okay, so I'm going to put the sharp point on C. I'm going to line the pencil up so it's exactly at D. Now I'm going to go back down to my problem here, and I'm going to go back to point X. Okay, and I'm going to put the sharp end of the compass again on point X, and then I'm going to make myself a little arc cutting through the line like that. Well, what have we just done? This length was the one we did first. It's the length of the F. Okay, this second length is the one we just did. That's the length of CD. So what is EF minus CD? Think about it for just a second. Okay, I think you got it right. That's exactly the distance from here to here. Okay, so this line segment is the segment we want to use. So I actually was wrong by labeling this first point X. Okay, it's not the X that we want, so I'm so sorry. Teachers make mistakes too. Okay, I'm going to just erase that X. Pretend I didn't put X there. And we're going to call this X and Y. And that is the difference. That is equal to EF minus CD. Okay. So now we're down to the very, very last one. And this one I'm going to be smart enough not to label any point until I'm completely done. Okay. So let's see. This is a very similar problem. You've got to construct CD minus AB. So we're going to start by drawing a line. Very long line. Make sure it's long enough. Now we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start with a point here, which I'm not labeling. My first length has got to be CD. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to take my compass. I'm going to measure out CD. I'm going to put my sharp point on the C and widen the compass so the space is exactly the length of CD like that. And come back down here. Whoops, my ruler's falling in my way. I'm going to take the sharp point here. And I'm going to make an arc like that. Minus AB. So now I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to measure out AB, put the sharp point on A, and put the pencil on B. I have it just about there. And I'm going to go back down to the first point that I have on the very left here. And again, I'm going to put my sharp end on that first point, and then I'm going to make myself an arc. And once again, XY is this line segment between these two arcs. That would be XY, because remember, this was the length of CD, this was the length of AB, and this length is the length of CD minus AB.